I set this project up early this morning. I had to be gone then all morning until afternoon, so I came back, started Creative Studio 7, and you can see where my point of origin is right there. I placed the machine head in the upper left corner of this quilt, and I set the origin there. That's usually what I use for my origin. So now here my quilt is all the way over here to the left, and I'm going to right click. Now I don't have to do what I do in some occasions depending on how I do restart. All I have to do is right click, and I could do that anywhere on the screen, but I chose this first repeat in the first row. Go down and get Relocate, Shift All to one point. Now when I get here, I'm going to actually turn on the end snap. Press the E key, and you'll see end snap is now on. Also, you can see that it's already snapped to the start point of the first repeat in the first row, and that's where the needle is sitting. So I'll just left click on that, then left click on yes, and now see, everything is all lined up. I didn't have to do anything special. This is how I do this. I'll turn off the end snap until I need it again. I'm going to need it when I roll the quilt. So we'll see what happens when I do this. So now I'm going to roll the quilt. I'll pause my recorder, and I will roll the quilt and come back and show you how I set this all up for the next row. I have rolled the quilt, and I am going to relocate and shift the start point of this first row up to there. That will put this next row in the area, and I'll draw my boundary. You notice I deleted my boundary. I always do that and draw a new boundary each time. So I'm just going to right click, go to Relocate, Shift All to one point, turn on my end snap, and let it snap to there. End snap is on, so I'll let it snap to there. Click on that, click yes, and it should shift everything into position. Okay, so right now that row is at the point of origin, and that's fine. It's up close to the point of origin here, so that's fine. Now I'll draw a new boundary. I have drawn my boundary. I've drawn the boundary. I have my patterns adjusted, so like this. So I'm ready to stitch this next row. You see, I'm going to show you then when I get to the end of this row how I proceed. If you'll look up here on my icons here, I have changed how this is. I have my draw boundary, pattern to boundary, start quilting, restart quilting, draw P to P pattern, edge to edge, based, constant speed, regulated, repeat patterns. Now this is something I'll probably never use, so I'll probably get rid of that eventually. Now here's my draw trim, and that's okay. So that's what I have this set up. I have it more or less set up like I had in the CS6. Pretty much the same. So we'll see exactly what transpires here, and I'll show you when I get to the end of this row how I proceed to get back so that I can quilt the next row. Just pause my recorder and I shall return. Okay, the reason that I set this up this way was because of the old way and what I'm used to doing. I know that upper right button on the 6-button keypad, 3 clicks. First one, draw pattern, pattern to boundary, start quilting. And then once I click the lower right select, it's going to go to the start point of the first repeat in that second row and take a stitch. So I press that button, the lower right, and it's gone there. It's taking a stitch, and it's going to be doing a tie off, and then it's going to be a quilting. Here's another thing that I like about how I have this set up. See, this is based, constant speed, regulated. So I use those icons and I wanted them up here, so I placed them there. Now I purposely ran out of thread and I'm going to have to do a restart. So I changed the bobbin thread and I cleaned out the bobbin. Now I'm going to make sure that I have all of the anything that lint or oil or whatever, since I used a brush and cleaned the bobbin area out, that I won't have anything that will be on the back of the quilt. So now it's beneficial that I have my icon set up. You can see as I scroll across, go to edge, and then there's based, there's constant speed, and there's regulated. So I'm going to back up to constant speed, hold down the center bottom button and click the top right button to back up, just like it was in Creative Studio 7 or 6. And now I'm in constant speed, and over here I can, this now says select and cancel and all of that. So I will I'll just click on the lower right button to select the constant speed mode, and then I'll click the lower center to start, and it's just going to start stitching in constant speed. Then I'll hit the lower center. You can see the lower center turns to stop, and I'll press the stop button. Now I've cleaned out any debris that was in there. Now I need to do a restart. So I'm going to go ahead, and this is just like 6. I can hold up the upper right says shift, and then the lower right says exit. I'll exit out of constant speed. Then I'm going to move my machine over to the place where I need the stitching to start, and just go and click on restart quilting. So right here is where I stopped the quilting, and I'm going to put my needle here at a place and just check the alignment of this. We'll see how well this is lined up. Well, yeah, it's pretty well lined up. It might be just a little bit off, and I can right click here and get a node and see how close we are. Okay, I'm very close. So here's something I do quite often. I divide this right at this point. I put my cursor there and click the D key to divide it. Go down and put the cursor and divide it there. Go get the cursor, divide it there. You say, well, why are you doing that? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this node right here and make sure end snap is not on. Turn it off end snap. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to move this node right there. Move this node right there. And that one is not exactly where I want it to be. I'll get it again. You say, well, you're going to change the shape of that. How much? Not enough to notice. And it's going to be very close whenever I get this set up. Right there. That's pretty close. I'll go here and get this one, turn on the end snap, snap it to there. Okay, now when I do a restart quilting, it's going to should start at that point. So we will see exactly what it does. Now I'm going to go over and select, okay, there's the boundary, pattern to boundary, start quilting, restart quilting, and I have the needle sitting exactly where I want it to restart quilting. Yeah, I have some options you can see, and there. So if I just select that, it should start quilting right at that point. It should take a single stitch. We'll see what happens. Okay, what it says? I can go back, I can go forward, I can use this point, I can just simply quilt. I'm going to just tell it to quilt. And there it is. It's took a single stitch. And now I'm going to tell it to stitch. Work. Okay, when I did that restart, Creative Studio absolutely lost its mind. And it stitched way up into here. I stopped the machine and I had to pick out all the stitches. It did not restart like I expected it to. I guess this is one of the things that Creative Studio 7 does to you from time to time. Now it should have started right here, and I'll probably have to do some manipulation to get it to be lined up again. So I don't know. And we'll see how that works. You can see this is quite a ways off of where it should be. So I'm going to use another method here of lining things up. So we'll see exactly how everything should be. And I'm going to pause this. Okay, I went to the patterns that I have made a long time ago. I went and got my little push pin. It's an alignment pin, and I told it I wanted to do this in a repeat patterns, and it says click a point using the head of the machine. Okay, so I'll just click the point where the head of the machine is. I'm going to turn off snap, and I'll just click a point where the head of the machine is right there. Okay, now it has placed that there, but it did not put it where I wanted it. I want it to be at the start point. So see right here I have options of doing this start point, and now it has the start point of that pattern where the needle is located. So maybe I should have done this differently. I will do it differently. Okay, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to go here, have that selected. I'm going to go and use my machine, see if I can't get this more precisely located. I'll just scroll over to, and let me exit out of this thing, saying no, get out of there. Okay, I'll scroll over. Things to know, things to remember, things to do. It's okay. Over to repeat patterns. Okay, where's my repeat patterns? Okay, repeat patterns. I'll select it. Now I can change my point from upper left here to start point. And when I click OK, it should place that right where the needle is. And let me scroll in. Okay, I'll say OK to that. And let me scroll in. All right, there is where it is. Now, that is exactly what I have, and that's where that needs to start. But you can see it's quite a ways off. And okay, I have all of the repeats in that row selected, and I don't have my little push pin locator pattern selected. So I think I'm just going to adjust this over like this until I can get this pattern over in place. Okay, I'm going to just select these two and pull this over a little bit this direction. Okay, I have that pretty well lined up right there. Just about like that. That'll work. Get out of that. Go up here. Get some nodes. And I need to divide it right at that point. Divide it at. Now the rest of it I don't really care about. All I want to do is get this and take this node right here, grab it, turn on end snap, snap it to that right there, to that cross, to this point here of that pattern. This time I'm going to do a needle off stitching just to see if it's going to go in the correct position. Okay, I tested this with needle off, and I have no idea why this thing went crazy and stitched up into here a while ago. There was nothing showing that it should have done that. There's not any patterns up there. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. I've got the needle back on, and I will go and say OK. Restart stitching. Click to select it. Okay, and it moved into position. I'll click quilt. Okay, it's going exactly the way that it should have gone the first time I tried this. So that's one of the things that I suppose there are different problems in this program. So we shall see. Well, Creative Studio does some strange things, and I can see it doesn't work near as well as version 6 in doing all of this. So for some reason it stopped right at this very same point, basically in the pattern, as to where it run out of thread and did the restart back over here. So I don't know why it did that, but that's okay. I'm going to continue on and see if I can get this thing to finish this row. So I've got two choices. I can either toggle this as unsewn and let it start there, or try another restart. So I don't know. I may just try another restart just for curiosity to see what happens. I did get to the end of the row after a great deal of frustration and doing a restart twice and having Creative Studio take off in a totally foreign direction and quilted patterns in an area where really there was not a pattern. And I don't, this is just about too much frustration for me. I don't know. At this rate, if I have to deal with stuff like this, I'll probably get finished with this project in maybe 2020. We'll see how it goes.